welcome back. This is part 2 of our trip at the Museum of Marine Corps, and we were actually super surprised when we got there because one of the first things we saw was actually a plein air artist, and there were more than one over there in the lobby area, so they were all actually drawing like the military figures and the sculptures there. So we kind of briefly talked to one of them, and apparently they were supposed to have a critiques. We just caught them before they had to go, so we didn't get the chance to actually interview them more on what it's like to be an artist in residence program at the Museum of Marine Corps. So you can definitely just look it up on Google. They definitely have a link there to explain, and it's pretty cool. Part of it, there is actually a combat art gallery, and there is actually an exhibit there on display right now featuring this artist named Mary Whyte, and her exhibit is called We the People, and it features life-size watercolor paintings of veterans and what they are doing now, like
as everyday people. The whole point of the exhibit was to feature different military veterans who are just like normal people like you and I, but slightly older. You wouldn't know who they are unless you actually read the label, because it actually displays their name. And visually speaking, it seems like, okay, well, there's a bunch of people, men and women of color in different professions, but the context actually to show that these are people who worked in the military or fought in the military. So it's more like trying to humanize this aspect of the military.
As me and my family were looking around, and if you read like the artist statement up on there's like a board with all that information. It really does showcase that commitment of those who served, and it kind of makes you feel a little bit humble about everything about the military, because everyone's just a person. Everyone's a person. So, and as an artist, I was very impressed about the fact that everything was watercolor, which is a very difficult medium in my opinion to work with. So usually I don't see a lot of large scale watercolor paintings. That's usually reserved for more like acrylic and oil, but these were simply beautiful to look at, and these pictures don't actually do justice. And first of all, because they were covered by glass casings, so you really have to see it for yourself. One of my favorite paintings there was it featured like an astronaut. It has this interesting framing where it looks like you're looking from inside a spaceship looking out in the space, so it's kind of cool. And then there was another painting I really liked where a woman in her Native American fashion, so super cool stuff. So that was just like the exhibit that was displayed in the combat art gallery itself, but there's actually more art that me and Miguel saw outside of it.
Mixed media, actually. It's made by various different medium, made by Chris Cooksey. Chris Cooksey is the artist who made these two sculptures, one being what seems to depict two men wrestling with each other, and all the different parts are like parts of a ship and other what seems to be a steampunk atmosphere. And then there was one that's like a portrait of what looks like to be an African American soldier. And then there was a third piece, actually, that's a life size of a person in combat with his helmet and gun and gear, and all the different parts are made of various other random parts and miniature soldiers as well. You really have to see it for yourself. It's quite meticulous and kind of hard to imagine how much time it took to make all that, and that it's done by a person.
Along with that, there was a lot of like artwork that was actually made by like either like by a Marine or civilian artist documenting the Marine Corps, and it's like a really nice lineup of all of that on display there. So Miguel and I really highly recommend for you to check it out, and it really gives you that perspective of like art is embedded in our lives, but just as much as the military in that way.
I just give you a bit of a perspective. And so who would have thought that art played a big role? I learned a lot from this museum and didn't think that the military really cares a lot about the arts as well, in a way.
I think it's a lot more recent, I feel, because there's now more people in support of wanting to preserve history, and whether that's through means of artwork that's acquired by the museum. And I think it's interesting too, because like, if not this, there are actually creative roles in the military that not many people even think of, right? So And that also includes music. Now, music is a whole nother thing that we're not so super familiar with, but you can be part of the chorus there, or you can be a musician and be in the military. So probably people associate art as a more positive thing rather than like war, where it's associated with violence, but they're just as intersectional than any other subject out there. I guess personally for me, I've always separated the military from art, and coming to this exhibit or gallery kind of made me sort of have a more understanding of that relationship, and that it's actually more beneficial for artists to be continually inspired by the military or the military lifestyle. So
yeah, I was quite surprised because as soon as we walked in, I was already amazed how much content I was anticipating to see. And now I hope that more people would come and see this museum.
We hope to return again because there was like a memorial park that we didn't even go to.
Yeah, there were parks around the museum.
It was very cold, so we wanted to be inside.
All right, well, we hope you enjoy that, and we will probably take another trip and we'll probably discover new things.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!